All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Let's Chat Live, a show where we interview new and upcoming podcasts to find out more about their show and why you should listen. I am your host, Robert, and with me today is Don from Game On, a sports podcast for everyone.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
And today we have the opportunity to sit down with the guys at Geek Cave Podcast, a podcast about games, comic books, movies, and all things awesome. So let's bring in Chad, Justin, and Darren. Here we are with Chad, Darren, and Justin.
What is up, gentlemen?
Hello.
Hello.
How are we doing? What's up? The good-looking group of guys there. How's everything going tonight? Love the hat.
Good.
Love the hat. The tie.
Yes.
Everybody's dressed in their wonderful apparel, except we won't talk much about the St. Louis Blues banner in the background. We won't go there.
That's fine.
Okay, it's better than my Nationals t-shirt. So,
No, buddy of mine said you only get one chance to make a first impression. Darren
Yeah.
apparently didn't get the memo.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
feel like I didn't dress up enough for this
We're-
endeavor.
We're
your
two for three. No, I'm joking.
It's your show. You don't have to dress up. I'm the one who's
No.
got to look presentable.
Man, so we want to welcome you guys onto the show tonight. Super pumped to have you guys on. Love the podcast. I was listening to it a bit today. On my way to work, on my way home. Awesome stuff. So, I mean, just a couple quick questions that we wanted to ask, and I'm sure it'll open things up to conversation for sure. But I mean, you guys seem pretty comfortable with each other. I'm assuming, one of the questions I wanted to ask, and what I like to ask everybody is, how long have you guys really known each other?
Oh man.
What is it, like a decade and a half now?
Should we dig in?
Probably.
Well, back when the Earth was flat and dirt was the new thing.
Go
I think it was a Tuesday.
Usually
So
is. I met Justin in 2007 at his wedding, and didn't get to know him until 3 months later at my wedding.
Wow.
Wow.
And see, it's really funny. All three of our spouses went to the same high school together in the same small town in the middle of nowhere, Illinois.
Mhm.
Yep.
They branched out, married us schmucks, and still
Mhm.
kept in contact. And wouldn't you know it, the three of us really hit it off.
Yeah, I met Justin shortly after I got married. So I was the first indoctrinee into this little group. And I'll never forget because it's one of those things where my wife's like, all right, my best friend's coming over. She's bringing her boyfriend. Be nice. And within like 5 minutes, we're just kind of standing there awkwardly looking at each other, kind of like when you take when the guy goes to the mall and he finds the other guys who are there waiting for their girls to finish shopping. And yeah, we're just kind of standing around looking at each other. I'm like, you want to see my comic book collection? And from then on,
I mean,
Do I?
that'll get my attention. I mean, I don't know any man that it wouldn't get his attention, but that's awesome. That's awesome. And I mean, friendships that start from the purse holders club at the mall seem to go a long way. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
So as far as the podcast, now we heard, the beginning stories of you guys and how you all met, but what made you guys decide to start a podcast? And especially you guys kind of pretty much answered that, but especially a podcast about, games, comic books, movies, pop culture. What made you guys pinpoint on that and start that?
Well, the Batty and Me money just wasn't rolling in the way it
Oh,
used to.
God, would you shut up?
okay, yeah,
Darren.
I guess Chad just made it a prerequisite that I go into a little bit of backstory. So
You're welcome.
we used to work on a really dumb YouTube series,
Emphasis
Call
on
back.
dumb.
very dumb. Think poorly thought out sitcom. And
I'm interested.
yeah, well, just look for Batty and Me, BATTY, ampersand, me.
What really happened is I gave Darren a gag gift one year for Christmas, a life-size cardboard cutout of Christian Bale as Batman.
Yep.
And from there, he had a string of bad ideas and decided to film it.
What happened was, I do believe I was challenged to find a use for it.
Did I challenge you?
I don't remember who did, but I took the challenge.
I'm going to say no.
Right. Well, anyway, that led to us working together creatively instead of just being friends. We were friends with creative benefits.
We took our relationship to the next level.
And after that, didn't really pan out because, well, God, what did we do? 36 episodes or something like that?
I don't know.
52.
52, that's right. Holy crap, I forgot.
Wow. We did 52 episodes because that last one was a musical episode, guys.
That's true.
Yeah.
Thank you. But after that kind of wound down, I work in radio professionally, and quite frankly, I was a little bored. So I roped them into doing the podcast with me.
Well, no, you're leaving out a big chunk.
Okay.
Darren decided to do this podcast.
Right.
And it was just him, just kind of news anchor, Dan Rather style, reading the news. And I was one of his.
Whoa.
Oh, no.
Oh, what happened to Justin?
No.
Well, Justin was my first guest. But
okay.
Yeah, the Geek Cave was that version 1 was terrible, and brought Justin back. Hopefully he can get back into the meeting, but we brought him back as a co-host a year later as version 2. And then Chad. Yeah.
Hey.
Okay. So welcome back, Justin.
Thank you. I don't know what happened. The story was too awesome. The internet couldn't handle it.
Yeah. So I just told them that we did one episode. I hated it. We waited a year. We relaunched with you as a co-host. Take it away from there.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. We just started talking about stuff we loved and being really stupid with each other. And then we roped Chad into it to talk about movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
I'm the fresh young face of the Geek Cave.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. That's pretty funny, actually. I mean, 52 episodes
of Batty and me.
Yeah.
We've had over 100 of the Geek Cave podcast.
Yeah.
I'm interested in this musical episode. I'm gonna have to get on YouTube when we're done.
I think it's Batty and Me episode 52.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's our fond farewell where we all sing the Batty and Me theme song together.
Oh,
you can tell that some of us look back on it more fondly than others.
I didn't have to put near as much work into it. I was just Ladies Man 368.
Yeah, that's
all
true.
I had to do. All I had to do was say my lines, and on at least one occasion, shave my facial hair.
Yeah, that was a big sacrifice.
It was, honestly.
You look at this panel that you see before you, Darren, and every single one of us is facial haired.
That's true.
Absolutely.
It is good. It is amazing.
I was there to grow it, not shave it. This is gonna get it. So the funny story about that, I was sitting one of my older jobs, and I was always clean shaved, and the guy's like, I bet you $200 you won't grow a beard or can't. And I'm like, dude, I'm Italian. It grows in the next hour. Like, so I was like, all right, fine. And he's like, well, now that you said that, you can't maintain it for 2 months. I was like, oh man. I was like, all right. This thing was like this big at one point, just sitting there ungroomed.
Oh.
Like the only thing I can do is wash it. So like after the 2 months, I got to $200, but it seriously, it grew on me, literally. And
yeah,
and I trimmed it, and then I just maintain it, and I like it, and everyone likes it. But so you were there to shave it. I
I don't know that he was dared. I think it was his idea.
Well, it was brought up because Ladies Man 368 was serving as 3 different characters, all for different phone things. One was tech support. One was one was like
Psychic hotline.
One was
a
like a
psychic hotline.
Yeah.
And then of course one was the phone sex hotline.
I mean, if you're Lady Man 368, there better be a phone sex hotline in there somewhere. There almost has to be.
There absolutely was.
What's great is the full beard was for the phone sex line.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Chick dig the beard, man.
Well, moving from the past YouTube show to the podcast.
Yes, please. Thank you.
You've never seen Darren so relieved.
Yeah. You like that sweet transition? Woo.
Nice. I like that.
You already had a lot of the equipment that you needed. So was there anything special that you thought of that you needed to acquire to run your podcast, or did you already have everything you needed?
Oh, heck no.
No,
We
been
started.
constantly.
I gotta say, when I joined, we were all we were in the same room, and each of us had our own laptops running through little headsets, recording separately, then handing those to Darren to do some magical wizardry with, to make them into something resembling coherency.
And in the time of the 2020 pandemic, we're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Except now we're
better now.
away.
Yes.
But we've absolutely upgraded tech 4 or 5 times at least, and that's probably one of the biggest challenges during the pandemic, is just getting our sound consistent enough where it still sounds like we're in the same room, even if we're hundreds of miles apart.
Oh
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we run into the same thing at Game On, a sports podcast for everyone. So I'm here. I'm in South Bend. We have Carlos is in Orlando. Danny he's in South Bend as well, but he doesn't come here. You know, we try to keep, the social distance thing. So it's interesting when we all come together and get on the show. Zach as well, he's from here, but again, social distancing. So everything's done via Zoom. And I mean, we started this year too. January 31st, we're almost in a year. And it's been interesting. And I mean, if you can make it through this, I think through this year, I think you're good. When things back to normal, everything gets going. I mean, it's been an interesting year, I don't even know what else to say about it, but other than it's been a challenge, and it's almost like I look at it as preseason to the regular season in sports, so to speak, where this has just been, you're able to grow. You're on the same playing field as everyone else. Everyone's using Zoom or Skype or whatever, so have you. And you're just trying to find the right algorithm, so to speak, to try to get things moving. And I mean, listening to you guys on this show, like I said, I listened to a couple episodes, and it's been awesome. I really enjoyed it. I love that you guys keep it, which we try to do as well, is keeping it, under like 45 minutes to an hour or so. I think that's awesome, to where, you get everything out, and it's easier to listen to, in my opinion. I like the shorter, like, we try to keep it short, but we always have one guy that goes off on a tangent and then forget about it. It's an hour and 20 minutes and you're screwed. But I like that kind of formula, to where you have it that way.
That's why we split it up. We have the main podcast is dropped in 3 episodes: comics, video games, movies. And in the early days, it was just one long form show. So it would go an hour and a half easily.
Oh yeah.
3 hours on, I think, was our magnum opus.
Yeah,
it was a monster.
That was a mistake, but we don't do that anymore.
Block that out.
For sure.
Well, and I was about to ask this question. It just popped up in my little chat window here. Somebody else from Science Fiction Remnant. I'm actually going to pop it up here. how did you all come to the idea of this specific one, like really honing in on the games, comics, and movies, and can you talk about that just a little bit more?
Go ahead, Jed.
Well, I was because when it come to kind of honing in on it, Darren and so Justin was kind of the comics guy. I mean, he and Darren met, over comic books and so forth. But then when it got into the podcast and wanting to do more things, Justin doesn't play a lot of video games comparatively. And so it started differentiating, okay, now we got this video game guy because Darren very much is, and a comics guy. And since I didn't do any of that, movies just kind of fell into what I was able to do. Justin, dang it, you're being rude. But in honing in on that's really where it started, was the idea that each of us had things that we were particularly interested in and good at. Mm-hmm. But we also had a second thing that we were really kind of into. So like was primarily into movies, but I played a lot of video games. And so I could bounce off of Darren in his section really easily and well. And Justin could give whatever joke or whatever idea kind of popped into his head. But then when it came to comics, I'm completely out of the loop. I mean, it wasn't until I was in my 30s late 20s that I read like Watchmen, things that were huge, big deals in the comic world. I still haven't read things like Crisis and so forth. That wasn't my thing. But the honing in was organic. It just built and built and built as each of us was like, I kind of like doing this, or I like doing that, or hey, what do you think of this idea?
Well, and if I can bounce off of that a little bit, that's part of the idea behind our 3.0 relaunch that we're doing this week is as we've done the show more and more, we've started to pick up a little bit more on each other's specialties. So I'm not as much a movie guy as Chad, but I can have a fun little segment in Chad's movie episode, which you'll find out on Thursday. Justin is not a gamer. Not a hardcore gamer, but he definitely brings his own humor with answering random gaming questions on Reddit in the most horrible way possible in the gaming section.
I love it.
I'm going to take that as a compliment. Thank you.
I meant it.
I love it. Love it.
And Chad is not much of a comic book guy, so he brings his own little twist to the comic segment.
The manga moment.
Yes.
We'll get into that in a minute. But one other question that I had for you, as far as social media and how it relates and helps you guys. I mean, for you, what platform has been best for getting your show out there? What do you use the most for putting all your info out there?
Really, we try to use both Facebook and Twitter, but for two different purposes, if that makes sense. Facebook is great for promoting the show. We can boost posts, that kind of thing. But Twitter has been just completely invaluable when it comes to getting guests on the show. It's so much easier to connect with people one-on-one. In fact, we've got an interview set up for this Friday for an upcoming episode. Another person that we connected with purely on Twitter, and he's doing some great things with using video games to teach, using video games in the classroom. So we're really looking forward to that. I would say Twitter has probably been our best tool when it comes purely to A, generating content, and B, generating buzz, though.
Yeah, I think I feel you on that. I mean, I think it's kind of, for us, it's kind of even. We get a lot of pull on Instagram as well, but I think Twitter conversationally to interact, I think Twitter is better for that. I don't think Instagram gives that kind of personability to it. So that's what we pretty much notice. So I want to jump into this. So I listened to the last episode the one that came out today. And all right. So first off, we have to touch because I'm from New York City. So listening to you guys talk about this comic about the super angry birds, so much.
Yes.
I'm like, the pigs ate pizza with truffles, and I need to find out who even thought of this, number one. And why they're taking over New York. It's always New York, of course. Gets angry
always.
and all this nonsense. But I have to ask, and I listened and I heard your opinion, but for the sake of the show, and if those who haven't listened yet, you definitely should. But what was your reaction reading this stuff? Because I'm listening to you guys and I'm like, what?
So yeah, this is part of the 3.0 idea where I didn't really have anything to do in the comics segment. So beforehand, I was just doing like a news roundup, and we're like, Chad and Justin are like, hey, they have free comics on Comixology. Just like get a bunch of those, get like a bunch of number ones, and call it Darren's First Time, which I love the name. And when I'm scrolling through, Super Angry Birds is like the first book that came up, and I'm like, I can't not read this. So while I was reading it, I don't know if I entered a state of disbelief or if it was just one of like willfully not wanting to believe what I was reading.
Oh.
It was bad. It was bad.
Fair enough.
That is something.
Oh, also, I really want to thank you guys for making him relive that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Thank you.
Because that saves me the trouble of having to like call him later on this week and saying, hey Darren, Super Angry Birds.
I was on my way to work and I was practically in tears listening to this kind of review from you guys, and I was like, Steph, what the hell is going on here? Like, I love comics, but I was like, I would not pick this up if it was even on Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah,
like, I don't know if I would do that. But now going further into that episode, I gotta ask Chad. So I have this stuff drilled down my neck daily by my 14-year-old daughter, who loves however you pronounce it, manga. I don't know what you call it.
Depends on if you're from Boston or New York.
I'm from New York, and I am having a hard time with it. I'll be honest with you. But it's crazy because she sits there on Netflix and absorbs like My Hero Academia and Hunter x Hunter and all this stuff, and I'm like, what is going on this TV? There is a talking pig, there's a penguin, there's people. I don't know anything about it, and I'm like, and she's like, this is the greatest thing, and she starts naming all these Japanese names, and I'm like, I know nothing. I know Dragon Ball Z only because of where I grew up in New York and what there was available to me. But what was your take on this? It being one of your first times trying to absorb something new. What was your take on that?
So
probably like mine.
Well, because it's weird, man. It's weird, and it's intentionally weird, and the manga moment's going to continue being just intentionally weird, because I almost know almost nothing about manga or manga, depending on where you're listening to me from, whether you're listening to me in New York or Boston. So, but it's going to be just this jolly fun adventure because I was introduced to anime when I was in like college by a roommate who wanted me to watch Trigun, which is this weirdo Western alien thing that defies any kind of definition beyond that.
But it's good.
It is a good show. I'll give you that. And then my spouse, whose college roommate introduced her to anime, and and so we've watched the cartoons, but when it came to the books, I've not spent a whole lot of time with them because, as you heard today, you got to read them backwards. And
yep, so weird.
It is a weird thing to do. I would say, though, for your 14-year-old child that's digging into anime and so forth, one, just kind of sit back and let it wash over you because you're never going to keep up
Nope.
You've got series that ran for one of my spouse's favorite shows is called Inuyasha. You don't need to know anything about this other than over 8 seasons and 4 movies, they don't make any progress. It is the same villain. It is the same story. It is the same conflict for 8 seasons and 4 movies until the end. The bad guy goes like, I just wanted a friend. Bleh.
Spoiler alert, Chad.
The thing ended in like 2007. I'm not apologizing.
Hey, I haven't seen the last movie yet, Chad.
You know what? You don't. The movie's like the Trigun movie. It happens in the middle of the show.
It's quite funny because like there's some good ones that I've noticed. Like I don't know if you've ever dug into like Death Note, which happens to be that was probably one of the ones where I sat and I was like, huh, this is actually engaging.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the other ones, like I can't, I just can't. And she's naming all these names, Ahsoka and all this stuff. And I'm like, where do I live? I don't know what you're speaking. And it's funny, but at least it's something, some of the stuff you got to be careful though. Cause she's got into some stuff and it's like, okay, I'm not watching this anymore. I'm like,
you start asking the question, should I let you watch this?
Exactly.
As the responsible parent, do I need to just put this on a shelf for another 4 years and you can watch it when you're an adult?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's tough. And like I said, I was where I grew up in New York, in Flushing, New York, very proud of that area. I love being from there, but predominantly Korean, Chinese, Japanese, Asian centric. Mm-hmm. It was me and 28 other Asian kids in my class. Like there was nothing else. It was quite fun. You walked around the neighborhood and there were anime stores all over. It was Dragon Ball Z. Someone mentioned Cowboy Bebop in the chat. It was stuff like that. What was that one with the robot? Not Voltron. What?
There were lots of them with robots.
You got it.
There's Gundam. There's
Gundam. That's the one. There you go. See, that's lost on me. But I was into comics as a kid, but that never caught on for me. I was Marvel all day. Whoever, you guys are into comics. Have you ever heard of the name George Tuska?
I can't say that I have.
He was a animator for Marvel. He worked under Stan Lee on a couple comics. He did Captain America, stuff like that. So he was like my dad's uncle by marriage. So we have like awesome stills and drawings like Captain America, Iron Man, and stuff like that from like Stan. Like my dad used to go into his basement and see like all the stuff that he used to draw and everything like that. And it was awesome. So seeing that as a kid, I was like, oh, that's it. It's gotta be Marvel. So that's all, he helped on Spider-Man and all that. So that's what it was for me. So then growing up in that area and seeing, Eastern comics, Japanese anime, and I hate to call it Japanese anime, but let's face it. I mean, that's what it is. That's where it originated from. So all that kind of stuff, it's interesting, but I never thought my daughter would pick it up. And I never thought it would come back to, I don't want to say haunt me, but like in my adult life, like, oh man, but it's cool that she likes it. At least it's something. So, I enjoy, I just wanted to know your take on it and how it was for you. Cause if it's your first time really diving into it, it really takes you back a little bit, I'm sure.
Well, and the full answer is always going to be, it's weird, but so is literally everything about geek culture. Yeah. And the deeper you dive into it, the weirder it gets, and the more you just fall in love with the weirdness.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I can't say more than that.
Darren, I the last time Justin left us, and you got a little bit bigger, I noticed your consoles in the back, and I'm a little jealous of the Street Fighter 2 console back there.
No, I've got a Raspberry Pi in here with a bunch of retro games. I do have a Turtles arcade cabinet just behind the camera, and the Pac-Man one behind me too. My wife won't let me get any more.
Well, if you could
I've
help
got a
me
set of
out,
drums.
my wife into letting me get just one.
Oh yeah, my wife. I have way too much. I stream, and my video game addiction is. My wife hates me, but it's okay. She knows between podcasting and video game addictions. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I can get away with claiming that I need the video game systems for podcast work because technically I do. We stream new games every once in a while called Geek Cave Plays on Twitch, and my wife and I actually have another show, part of the podcast network called Retromantics, where we play old games together, and sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's Disney's Aladdin, and that episode just went up this coming Sunday, so I'll let that speak for itself on Sunday.
That game was awesome, in my opinion.
The game is awesome, don't get me wrong, but we played both the SNES and Genesis versions and then debated which one is better. So
Sega's the best. Sega's the best, in my opinion.
I agree, but there's still a little bit of harsh feelings here, so I'm just going to let it go.
I mean, that sounds like something right up my alley. I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to check that out because we stream, and I'm all about. I mean, I have a Raspberry Pi as well, and I'm all about retro gaming and stuff. And I mean, the Nintendo Switch kind of makes it easy now, although you're at their mercy of what they release on Super Nintendo and regular Nintendo on that system. It's still fun to sit there and play like Rygar that you haven't touched in like 25 years. Like, I think that's hysterical, and things like that. Like the original Ninja Turtles, which is probably one of the hardest games ever to play in history. It's just one of those things that you can go back and do, and that's what these kids today won't understand when they complain about, and what I want to lead into, and one of the things you guys discussed, when they complain about the release of Cyberpunk and how bad it is, and what happened and everything. And I'm like, listen, when Super Mario 2 came out, that was like a revolution. So you guys have it good at this point.
Yeah, we did a special episode on Cyberpunk. It's just one of those. Oh, it's a sad story for the developers who actually worked on the game, but it's also kind of like a cautionary tale for the management team that knew it was in the state it was in when they released it. And we try to be pretty pro-consumer on the podcast. We try to watch out for our audience as much as we can. So it's one of those things where, like, I've got it on PC. I had it on PS5, and it was broken, and I couldn't play it anymore. So I returned it, and then a listener actually sent me a code on PC, and they're like, "Can you tell us how it is on this?" I'm like, "God, do you want me to? Really?" But so far it's turned out okay. But I totally get where people are mad about, shelling out $60 for a game they've waited for like 7 years, and it's non-functional on like 2/3 of the user base. I totally get that.
It's disappointing this year. Well, we'll say 2020. Two of the games that I could not wait for was Marvel's Avengers and Cyberpunk. Both games less than stellar releases.
Yeah.
Disappointed in Marvel and I don't know. They use COVID as this blanket statement, and I get that. I understand it's hard. You got people working from home, developers, but listen, the technology out there is ridiculous. If you can't work together and figure out, like, you knew the game was 75% done, if that, why would you put it out and not just say, listen, we're going to push it back again. I understand you're disappointed, but we don't want to put out a product not going to make you guys happy.
I think with Avengers, they wanted to get out by Christmas. Same thing with Cyberpunk. Like, by hell or by hook or by crook, we're getting it out by Christmas. At least Avengers, you can tell there's a good game under there, but you got to dig for it.
I mean, I enjoyed it at the beginning because I was like, oh man, this is great. I could play with my friends. Then you play with your friends, and it's broken. Let's just put it that way. The lobbies were broken. Everything was broken. They just came out. I mean, you have a Marvel game. There's so many other Marvel characters that could have came before Kate Bishop on December 10th. But you chose to put Kate Bishop out there who, to be honest with you, if you ask the mediocre Marvel fan, someone that's not super familiar with the actual lore of Marvel, they don't know who that is. And you put that out there instead of putting Black Panther or Spider-Man or Captain Marvel or any of that stuff. I don't know. It was just disappointing to me. So those two things disappointed me wholeheartedly, to be honest.
I hear you.
I actually can't speak to Cyberpunk. My computer won't run it yet.
That's fair.
I've watched people play it. It looks fun. It's on my wish list still. By the time I get it, I'm imagining the bugs. But I mean, that game was it was announced in 2012, and
it was
launched this year. After
like a 7 or 8 year cycle.
Yeah, and the original launch date was April 7th, I want to say. I mean, it
got delayed 4 times.
That's crazy.
It's
unbelievable. I mean, it was a shame when I put it in the first time. I went to put it on stream and I wanted to do a playthrough, and the thing crashed 4 times. It was just unplayable.
By someone in the chat mentioned WWE 2K20. I have personal experience with that game. That game can go die in a fire. So,
tell us how you really feel, Darren.
Now, Darren,
go ahead.
Would you rather play that or TMNT the video game?
Shut up. Wait a minute. Wii version or GameCube version?
Wii.
If he's got to think about it, that's pretty bad.
I don't know. I mean, the Wii version at least came out of my Wii console when I hit eject. So that's a positive.
Fair enough. Back to your show. What do you think is one of the biggest challenges that you faced just in putting your show together?
So, do you mind? I would say the obvious answer would be getting our voice out there, especially in a world that's saturated kind of in geek chic. But honestly, and this is my opinion here, the rest of the Geek Cave is not beholden to my opinion on this. I would say that probably keeping ourselves relevant to the moment without diving into the political arena has been a bigger challenge for us, because all 3 of us are really strongly opinionated about a lot of things. But the podcast itself, we try to keep as an oasis from that, which is really hard because so much of the world right now is so heavily invested in that political arena. And so we find ourselves, when we need to take stances, it comes out almost like the folk song singer-songwriter stands like, hey, y'all, dudes, like, sexism's bad, right? But when it comes to the biggest challenges of the podcasting, that to me is what I have to keep track of anytime that I'm writing, is how much of my political opinion is getting through, and how can I still review and be relevant without somebody having to have the newspaper open to that particular week.
Right.
Yeah, I would say staying relevant, developing content that's evergreen, stuff that you can listen to 6 months from now, and it's still funny, it's still engaging, and you're still getting something out of it, as opposed to a lot of our older stuff, even where, if you go back and listen to an episode like 3 or 4 years ago, not going to have that same kind of punch, not going to have that same kind of entertainment value. So really trying to make sure that we serve our audience in that way. That's really kind of something that's always at the forefront of our minds.
For me, it's just trying to stay entertaining and stay funny. I don't ever feel like whatever I bring to the table is really good enough compared to these 2 chuckleheads. but they somehow keep me around. So,
Well, you're the music guy too, so.
Well, apparently, yeah, I am.
There you go. No, I mean, I do, Chad. I feel you on the whole political thing. Working with the sports podcast and everything as well. We're in the same realm where a lot of things happened this year that affected sports that were in COVID, and it was interesting to try to dance around where you don't want to give that. So it's hard when it comes to that, and I see how it can be challenging, and it's tough when you want to give your opinion, but that there is not really, you just can't in the forum that we all have at this point. It's very hard to pick a side or say which side you're on or what you want to do, because you're doomed if you're doomed at the end of the day.
Well,
it's not doomed if you do, doomed if you don't. You're doomed if you do. So it's one of those tough things.
Especially when you're talking about comic books and movies and games, which are all three different types of art forms of way of somebody expressing themselves. Especially when you're talking, especially on the movie front, since it's trying to be an expression of the world that the writer is seeing, and it's really hard to take the current situation out of that. So, no, I can understand that one.
It's one of those tough ones. But one thing, to move from a serious topic to actually one of my favorite Halloween movies that you guys covered on your Halloween episode that you guys did, which is probably one of the most underrated Halloween movies or monster movies to that issue. And I was so psyched when I saw this episode. I did not get a chance to listen to it yet, but I saw it was touched on. The Monster Squad.
Yes. I was gonna say, what are we talking about? So that's on the other podcast.
But
we got like 23 podcasts.
It's all under the same umbrella.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah.
I was scrolling through. I was listening. I mean, I couldn't listen to everything. I wish I could, because I really dig it. But that movie, in my opinion, from when I was a little kid to now, is probably one of the most underrated movies you can watch on Halloween. People don't understand, and I'll use this line till the day I die, when the kid goes, "The wolf man's got nards."
Got nards.
Dude, you can't beat that. And people look at me like, what are you talking about? My wife is like, what's the Monster Squad? And I'm like, what kind of human are you? Who did I marry? Because I do not know this movie. People don't know it, and it's really weird. I used to watch that. That is one of the best monster movies that you can watch. It's like watching A Christmas Story on Christmas. In my opinion, that's just me.
Yes.
I love that movie, and people will tell me I've never seen it, and I'm like, you are insane, and you're a communist. I don't know.
Man, that's going to be rough, because us recording and talking about it was the first time I'd ever seen it.
Really?
So Don, that's a great segue. Under the Geek Cave Podcast umbrella, we have a couple different other projects, and one of them is called "You Want Me to Watch What?", where Chad and I lovingly force the other one to watch movies we've never seen. He picks a movie I haven't seen, and I pick a movie he hasn't seen. We watch it, and then we talk about it. And that was one of the ones that he had never seen, and I just absolutely delighted in showing this to him.
Oh yeah, dude. What did you think, Chad? I don't spoil the episode, because I wanna listen to your thoughts. But in short, did you enjoy it?
I think what I came down to is it's a movie that I would enjoy more had I seen it when I was 10 and was rewatching it now. But watching it in my late 30s for the first time, there's too much of that cynical adult in me to be able to really sink in and love it the way that Justin loves it, and the way that you love it.
No, that is a movie. That was one of the greatest movies. I would watch that. I would play the crap out of that movie, especially like come Halloween time. That movie was great.
I've had a lot of moments like that with Chad, showing him that and Flash Gordon. And
that one was a revenge movie, and you know it.
It was not.
I made him watch Barbarella.
If it was, yeah, you made me watch Barbarella first, so you brought that on yourself.
That's what I said. It was a revenge movie.
Barbarella, my lord!
Yes.
I saw both of those on there, but what caught my eye was Monster Squad.
Oh, yeah, that's the better choice. of the three movies, that's the best one so far.
You loved Flash Gordon. You can't tell me you didn't.
I enjoyed Flash Gordon. The more I think about it, the more I'm just like, yeah, okay, I get it, and understand. But
don't lie. After you watched that movie, you kept walking around the house saying, Flash Gordon. You know you did.
I almost wanted to make him watch Flesh Gordon the next month.
I'm sure it's in the rotation somewhere.
No, it's not, because we made that a soft rule. No X-rated movies.
Oh, yeah, that's right. No X-rated movies. Yes.
All right. Well, I mean, I think that might be a good rule, but although it would leave out a lot of funny commentary, I'm sure.
He's going to make me watch it at some point off the record. I know this.
I mean, it's kind of like, as soon as all three of us can be in the same room at the same time, I'm planning a super special. You want me to watch what? Where they get to watch the Star Wars Christmas special.
Oh yeah,
because I got that on DVD now.
I got so excited this year. For some reason, I was scrolling through Disney Plus, and I saw a Star Wars Christmas special in the same sentence, and I went, "Shut up!" And I clicked it, and then it said Lego, and I was firmly. I was like, "This is stupid. Just put the real one on there with Chewie's. What's
Chewie's family? Happy Life Day.
Yeah, Happy Life Day. That's technically, if you think about it, and a lot of people don't know this, but I bet you do. That's the first time you meet Boba Fett.
It is.
Yep, it is.
That's the first time ever in the Star Wars universe that you meet Boba Fett, and it's animated, and it's in the Christmas special, and you need to watch it, not because it's good, but because
it's not.
It's not.
You just have to watch it.
It's historic.
It's absolutely not good, but considering that like 2/3 of the Star Wars movies aren't good,
Oh boy.
So this is something that's very close to my heart.
We've now entered a minefield, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm going to 60% agree with you. Why? Because
that's better than I was expecting, honestly.
That's odd,
look, I completely get it. My basement looks like George Lucas threw up in it. So I have Star Wars stuff all over. I have the original posters.
You do.
Yeah, absolutely. Until my son took the head off of Baby Yoda's bobblehead, I was very upset about that. We're not going to get into that. That's why I ordered 2, because I knew it was going to happen somewhere down the line. But
as a parent, I may or may not have done that myself a time or two.
My wife's like, "Why are you ordering 2?" And I pointed at my son at the same time, and I said, "That's why." And that's exactly what happened. But okay, so yes, obviously the original 3, New Hope, Empire, Return of the Jedi, those are, forget it. You can't beat that. The ones that came out in the 90s, whatever. I guess the story had to be told. It was just a really weird way to do it. The ones that just came out, I will argue that they were okay, except for a couple of things. In the movie theater, when I was watching The Last Jedi, and she and Princess Leia, Mary Poppins their way out and back into a ship, I wanted to walk out. I was like, okay. I grabbed my wife's hand and I was like, what in the actual F is going on?
Like that.
And I didn't know what to think. And then I kind of lost stock in that. And then, the last one, I was expecting more of a pop when you saw Palpatine, not the first 6 minutes of the movie. I wanted that to feel special. I wanted that to be a big reveal, even though you kind of knew, rather than, yep, there he is. And he's talking to Kylo Ren. Yay. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just do that to that kind of iconic character. Like, oh, yeah, there he is. He's just one of the boys. Like, no, that's not how this works.
It should have never been in the trailers.
Yeah,
I guess so I hear what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying so far. What got me about the sequel trilogy is that it didn't raise the stakes to any particular degree.
Same formula. Oh, I agree with you.
It was the exact same. And so if you're already doing basically the same movies, why not just watch the other ones? You can say the movie ends at the exact same spot.
Yep. Yeah. But I will say I am excited for a lot of the, I don't want to call it spin-off stuff, but a lot of stuff that Disney has planned, like The Mandalorian. Great.
Expanded universe.
Oh yes.
Yeah. The Mandalorian was great. I will say, and I said this to my wife, and people disagree with me all the time. I find it slightly disappointing that Luke Skywalker made an appearance, and I understand why, but I feel they need to let the Skywalker saga go. Let it go and be its own thing. The Mandalorian deserved to be its own thing without Luke Skywalker at the end. I get it. I get where they're trying to take it. But it was good without that regardless. People didn't need that, and they need to stop clawing back at the Skywalker saga, in my opinion. I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, but that is what I believe.
So there was a meme a while ago that kind of used dice to show what happened. So like with the original trilogy, you had a regular, like a 6-sided dice, you know, that the whole universe, it was so big. Then with the prequel trilogy, you had like a 20-sided die, you know, because suddenly expanded, it blew up everything, you know, so many worlds, so many names, so many races, etc. And then the sequel trilogy, and it's just a coin.
Yeah.
Yeah. It shrunk everything back down.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, being a Star Wars fan, yeah. I mean, I hate to. There's only one Star Wars movie that I've not seen more than once, and that was Solo. That I absolutely, positively hated because he's my favorite.
I've never seen it, and I really don't want to.
Don't. I'll tell you that right now. To me, he's my character. He is my guy. Han Solo. I love Han Solo. I like Harrison Ford. Period. Anything he's in, I like. But Han Solo is like almost like my alter ego. Like I want to be him when I grow up, even though I'm grown up already. That's the type of person. I love Han Solo, and to see him not done justice in that movie in the theater. When I walked out, my wife's like, "What did you think?" And I was like, "Can we just go home?" I just want to go home.
Wow.
Like, I don't watch this.
I think what they should have done is put Harrison Ford in the movie and put a disclaimer up that said, "Just pretend he's in his 20s."
Yeah. Do anything now. I don't understand.
And everything's fine.
I have no problem with it.
Just de-age him like you did for De Niro in The Irishman.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh man.
Which, by the way, watch that movie again and just watch them whenever they sit down. When you see these young, like 20, 30 somethings, and then all of a sudden they need to sit down and they're because the actor's still 70.
I mean, it's just one of those things where I don't know. Like my wife's like, they should have just used Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker. It'd have been more realistic. And I'm like, stop, just stop. Like, just go read a book.
I would say the only one of the good things from Solo though was Donald Glover, because
yes, I'll give you that, but I'm not going to watch a movie for a guy that's in the movie for 10 minutes. Look, I can't. I won't do it, and it was disappointing. Now I will say this: my faith in the Star Wars universe, even after all of that, was restored. And people are going to call me cliche, but going to Disney and going to Star Wars Land or whatever they call it, Batuu or whatever, my God, that really brings your faith back. And I don't know if either one of you have been. I don't know if your parents and take your kids or whatever. But if you're a Star Wars fan, I urge you. I know now is probably not the best time to go. Although there's probably no lines. I can tell you that.
Crowds will be low.
that restored
You
my
would hope
faith.
so.
Yeah, that really restored my faith in what Disney can do. Because when you walk in to that part of the park at Hollywood Studios, I can tell you this from experience. You honestly feel, and while we have no idea what it's like to be in the Star Wars universe, you really feel like you're there. Like that, the Rise of the Resistance, at
Mhm.
it's one of the. It uses every sense in your body ever. You would think that you were on another planet, in another world, and it was absolutely insane. I've never seen anything like that. So if you guys have a chance, that fully restored most of it, because it was right after the Rise of Skywalker that I went. So I was like, oh man, this is actually pretty friggin' awesome. Like what they could do, and down the line, like if you're a Star Wars fan, I promise you that will restore your faith in what Disney can do. It was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Eating, riding, walking, buying, a lot of buying. It was absolutely amazing. So I could not. You guys being Star Wars fans, definitely go check it out. I implore you to do it. It's amazing, honestly.
I'll put it on the when I can go back outside list.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we all could do that. I haven't been.
Yeah.
It's been a year to the day, actually. Well, no, yesterday I was there. Yeah, so it was a hell of a time. But yeah, guys.
So
that was go ahead.
Oh yeah. So in addition to your show, I heard you say that I checked out the YouTube series. I like that. But what about your Twitch channel, or you have a Twitch stream as well?
Yeah, we use it primarily right around October to kind of boost interest in Extra Life. Every year we help raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals through the Extra Life charity. And that's a 24-hour gaming live stream. One positive note that came out of 2020 is we had our best year ever, and we're so thankful for everybody who helped out with that. But
yes,
yeah, we try to stream once or twice a month at twitch.tv/Geek Cave Podcast. And it's usually just me sitting around like, well, I feel like being stupid. What game am I currently playing? And then away we go. But the YouTube channel, all of the stuff that we do on Twitch ends up exported over onto YouTube, where like I said, we do Retromantics. That's kind of a YouTube exclusive because I don't think I can get my wife to live stream.
I'm actually gonna.
I definitely need to check that out.
Twitch.tv/Geek Cave Podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll definitely head over there and follow you. We have it's Gaming with Game On, where we do our Twitch stuff, where we get on, play. You know, usually it's a shooter or whatever, which I absolutely suck at, but I think it's just for the fun of it, getting on there and interacting with our fans. I think that's a lot of fun and worth a lot more than anything else, in my opinion. But yeah, we have a lot of fun. But I'm definitely gonna check that out. Love the retro stuff, and we should get together and do a partner stream one time, because I think that would be a lot of fun for sure. That I love streaming, something I just picked up and I absolutely love it. Spent a lot of money in the last year doing it, and I'm sure my wife absolutely hates it, but I love every minute of it. It's a lot of fun to interact with our fans, and it's a different way to play video games when you're doing it. I mean, you're just having fun and talking with other people, man. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They got a big digital couch. It's amazing. So, and actually, I added that here. So, tell us a little bit more about where else we can find you.
Well, let's see. You've got the podcast website. You got Twitter, Twitch. We're also on Facebook, facebook.com/Geek Cave. And I'm pretty active on Twitter. It's at Darren Wright. Justin, you're what? Is it
at Geek Cave Justin?
Yeah.
And I have to look it up because that's how often I tweet myself. It's like my phone number. What's my phone number again? Yeah, at Geek Cave Justin.
Yeah. So I'm usually haunting Twitter for my other job anyway, but I'm usually on line on the PSN, and we're you can find us on Steam. We have a curator page. We haven't updated it in a long ass time, but it's there. We're just trying to make sure we're as visible as possible. I do know we have we are on Instagram. I don't remember the freaking address for the Instagram off the top of my head, but I do know we're there as well.
Awesome.
And I don't know where Justin went.
So it's just I can tell you I can tell you your Instagram if you'd like.
Okay.
So it's just at Geek Cave Podcast on Instagram.
Oh, that's super easy.
Yeah, it's got the same logo you have on your shirt.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Did you catch the password too?
No, I'm not that good. I wish I was. I'm not that good.
That's cool.
If I was that good, I wouldn't be sitting here. That's for sure. No, but yeah, I mean, it was awesome talking to you guys. I mean, you guys are listening to the podcast, just especially the one I listened to today. I was practically in tears on my way to work. So what a great day to start today.
Well, we're glad.
No, yeah, absolutely. And it was a blast talking to you guys. I mean, awesome conversation. Would love to come on one day onto your show. If you guys are ever looking for a guest and just shoot the shit and talk a little bit about, anything. I don't care what it is. You want to talk about manga? Let's go. Yeah, just whatever you want to talk about. Yes. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. There's no right way. It's just manga.
Yeah.
Manga. I like it.
Yeah. Well, like, what the hell are you talking about? Just, don't worry, it's my own thing. But
if I could do one more cheap plug, our new gaming and movie episodes launch this week, Wednesday and Thursday, and that's all part of our big 3.0 relaunch. I do want to publicly give Justin some credit. He put out so much awesome work on all of the music that you hear on the show. That is all him, and it is all original, and he's just been an absolute rock star helping us with that stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So yeah, thank you guys so much. It's been an absolute blast. Honestly, I'd love to get you on our show. I don't know if you guys like sports. Obviously Darren does. If he's got that St. Louis Blues thing behind him, we're not going to go there. But I don't know if anyone else likes sports. You want to come on and talk? Absolutely.
I'm a hockey guy, and that's about it.
Hey, that's my number one. I'm about to go watch the junior championship right now, USA Canada.
Nice.
It's on network, yeah. 9:30. 9:30 for me. Might be 8:30 for you guys.
Yeah.
But
I'm in Fort Wayne, so I'm not that far from South End, so I'm in the same time zone as you.
Oh,
so.
really? Oh, all right. Awesome. That's good to know. Yeah, no, I mean, I have not. My goal is to try to get to a Comets game this year at some point if we're allowed. But
they just announced today that they will be playing like a 50-game season, and they're going to have like 2,600 fans or something like that. So awesome. Fingers crossed on that one.
Yeah, I got to get out there. I know Kalamazoo is going to allow fans, and I know the Fuel and Indy do. So I haven't seen a live hockey game since February of 2020. I'm in withdrawal, and it's eating at my soul. Yeah. So, but yeah, guys, again. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for, coming on, talking. Rob, if you have anything to close out.
No, thank you guys so much. It's been an amazing conversation. And I listened to your podcast, and one of the things that I took away is just the conversation that you guys have. And it's really, it brings you in, and it's welcoming. And I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
So thanks for taking the time to chat with us. Don, you want to tell everybody where they can find you in the interwebs?
Yeah, absolutely. So on Twitter, it's at GameOnEveryone. Instagram, it's at GameOnSportsPodcast. We have done a bit of a pivot. We are going to be doing the sports side, twice a month. We're shifting towards gaming at this point, since we have just started the official esports team of South Bend, Indiana.
Nice.
Just started that. Joined the Indie Gaming League. Got our first competitions this week. Super excited. Check us out on Twitter, SBN Lions, at SBN Lions. Going to be a lot of fun. So we're switching to pretty much a streaming esports centric style of show and doing the sports as well, but we're only going to be doing that twice a month. So on YouTube, it's Gaming with Game On. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun talking to you guys. Super pumped to talk to you guys again. Keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome. You had me crying on a Tuesday morning in my car on the way to work, so I can't say anything better about you guys. So Chad, Darren, Justin, you guys are awesome. Rock on. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks
Cool.
so much. And again, we are Let's Chat, your hosts, Robert and Don, here with Chad, Justin, and Darren from Geek Cave Podcast. Thank you so much for spending your evening with us. You can find more about our show at www.letschatpodcast.net and follow us on Twitter at Let's Chat Live. Have a great night.